Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt. Welcome back to Farlands or Bust. This is episode 723. Hello. Episode 723 of the series. As we secure the last episode's hidey hole, do we need to put down a sign? Have we done that before? I don't know how often we've done that before, if at all. Because this is the first episode of Farlands or Bust of 2019. The year 2019. I don't know what else it was going to be. But, I guess if we haven't been doing it, I'm doing it this time for no reason other than to say I have. Boink. Perhaps I should check. First episode of 2019. This is episode, how about flob number 7. Whoop, that is an 8. 723. I know numbers and how to use them on keyboards. This one's coming out for your Thursday, January 3rd, 2019. So 01, 03, 2019. And we've wasted enough time. Let's grab Wolfie, grab our workbench, and continue west towards those far lands here in Minecraft Beta 1.7.3, as we've been doing for over 7 years, working towards 8 years in March is going to be, which is really weird. Really, really weird for me. And fantastic. I'm very glad that we're knocking our keyboards and our mouses off the mouse pad and making the game spin around wildly. No, but I'm very glad that this is keeping up. And that I'm keeping up with this. Y'all have been keeping up with the donations to Direct Relief Charity at farlandsorbust.com. Up to $22,995.21. A lot of very generous donations over the holiday and the new year. Much appreciated. A lot of that coming during my fantastical and completely lackadaisy and no effort at all 12-hour live stream countdown to New Year's. That was 100% completely 12 hours of Car on a Stick. If you're just now hearing about it, boy, did you miss a moment. A 12-hour moment of Car on a Stick. Quite a few people, maybe not quite a few, a handful of people in the chat were like, so are you going to play anything? Yes, Car on a Stick. We played it for 12 hours. Almost exactly. I started at noon my time and ended right at midnight. Car on a Stick. So that was fun. Ringing in the new year with absolute and complete absurdity. That's the way I like to do things around here. You didn't think I had it in me. You best think again of the guy who's walking to the far lands in Minecraft, in an old version of Minecraft, for over 7 years. Oh, buddy. Well, that was fun. There were over 18,000 Car on a Stick emotes used in that chat on that stream. And a few people, including TDW Fan, took it upon themselves to donate very generous amounts to Direct Relief based on those emotes, so much appreciated to them, to those, and to everybody who kept me company during that. Crazy times indeed. These are crazy times we live in. Whoa, watch your step there, Wolfie. Oh, I said watch your step. He almost went right in the hole. What a noodle. But yeah, indeed. Something else happened on New Year's. New Horizons did that flyby of Object 2014 MU69. I don't know why it has any other name. It's MU69. That's the best name. They should have named it Nice. After the city in France, clearly. MU69 Nice. But just this morning, the 2nd, we got the first, I guess afternoon, the first, not the highest resolution, but the first high-ish resolution images and data of the flyby. And MU69 is a contact binary. It means it is still two distinct objects, not full spheres, but let's call them potatoes, that have coalesced just barely. They're touching, but they haven't impacted. They're pretty much joined by a very thin layer of sediment that the both of them contain. And the more and more images we get, as the days and days go on and the weeks go on, it's going to take 20 months. It's going to take well into 2020 to get 100% of the data back. Basically what the spacecraft does is it takes the pictures, takes the data, readings and whatnot, and just stores it on solid state drives. And then it starts to feed that information back at 1,000 bits per second. 1 kilobit. Very slow. It's very, very slow. And yeah, so we'll be getting this data for over a year now until we get 100% of it, just because it's so far away and so distant and it takes so long. And it's such a weak signal too. I think it's 14 watt. It's a 14 watt signal. So like the same wattage as one of your high efficiency LED bulbs that you have in your home. It's crazy. Crazy, I say. But yeah, a few of those weeks, actually very soon, are going to be no data because it's going to be behind the sun. We're actually on the opposite side of the solar system right now to New Horizons. But that's neat. That's interesting. And we're looking forward to new data and more, much better pictures coming up of that close flyby. Should be interesting stuff indeed. You know what else was going to be interesting, past tense, was the Sophia telescope NASA social that I was invited to. I applied and got accepted to the Sophia NASA social. Sophia is a NASA airplane with a telescope. It's a 747 that they installed a large, I think 9 meter telescope. Or is it 9 foot? 9 something. Not a small telescope. And it's actually one of the instruments that took measurements of the MU-69's objects occulting a distant star that was able to get the very rough shape and orbit and size of the object that they then used for this flyby on New Horizons. But it was due to be in Seattle here, so I applied and I got accepted. But what with the government shutdown, there's no news. No news at all. The email account for NASA Social gave me a auto reply saying NASA is shut down during the shutdown and the email is not being monitored. The Twitter accounts have all been silent since mid-December. So that sucks. That was something I was looking forward to. It did not, they made very clear, at least in the application, that it did not include a ride in the airplane. It's an airplane. It's a sign. Oh gosh, Wolfie! Don't stand in the line of fire when I'm breaking a workbench. Ooh, I fell right into that, didn't I? But a tour of on board and learning from the team members involved, which would have been neat, and of course perhaps meeting some other local science nerds, space nerds, NASA nerds like myself. But that was supposed to be this Sunday, the 6th. And I'm going to go ahead and say that that's not happening. I don't know if Sophia is... I would imagine Sophia is grounded as well. It's not doing any science, I imagine, because it's a NASA thing. So I'm assuming, like, maybe they'll arrive in Seattle and reschedule it for some time later. Hopefully. I don't know. It was going to be at Boeing Field down on the south side of Seattle, so I'm assuming maybe it was due to be there for, like, maintenance or something by Boeing, since it's a 747 or something. So who knows? It's completely up in the air. I'm hoping for some news on it, like some actual word. Like, not that it's certainly not, if they're going, if they're all off work and they're not getting paid, then that's certainly not their largest concern, is to let rando JMac space nerds know about the upcoming NASA social cancellation, but harumph, I say, harumph. Let's go to sleep and continue in the morning. And harumphness. This might hurt, actually. Let's see if I can stop that from happening. I couldn't. I could not stop that from happening. I tried to place a block, but it did not work. Speaking of hurting, let's get Wolfie back up to health here after that inadvertent punch. Boink. Well done. And we're carrying on. Of course, with all those new donations to Direct Relief, we got new questions. Like this one from Enyon. Ah! Wolfie. This one from Enyon. Ooh, I can smell my potatoes. That was not from Enyon. I'm baking potatoes right now. And I can start to smell their waft. Mmm. Root vegetables. Enyon, though, asks, you have said you rarely drink soft drinks. But when you do, which do you prefer? I don't drink soft drinks. I never. Not just rarely, I never. I'm a very strict individual about that. It's just a choice. I didn't even make it as a choice. It's just like, nah, I'm done with those. Stop buying them. Stop ordering them at restaurants. That would be really the only time I would order like a Coke or something, would be at a restaurant. It's just water, coffee, and iced tea for old Kurt J. Mac. That's all I have, literally. I can't remember the last time I paid my own money for a soft drink. I think in the last 10 years or whenever I've stopped, I'm sure I'm actually quite confident I've had a random root beer or cream soda or Sprite even from time to time if there was no other option. But yeah, no, I don't at all. Not just rarely, but never. Did you ever drink energy drinks beside the one Cone left you in your fridge? Nope, I've never had. Like, that was a Mountain Dew. I almost said excrement, which could be accurate, but it was like a Mountain Dew explosion or fusion or something. Cone, after he visited for PAX West, left a few in my fridge, and I'm like, let's try this. I was streaming or something like that, and it wasn't good. No, I've never had in my life an actual, like, legitimate energy drink. A Monster, a Rockstar, a Monster. Did I say Monster already? Red Bull, whatever. 3-hour energy. I've never had any of those, and I don't plan to. Those are like concentrated soda. Here's a bunch of sugar. So, nope, I've never, ever had. And I don't want to. They don't seem like an enjoyable experience. Like, I don't even drink... Obviously, a handy side effect of drinking coffee is caffeine, energy, the wake-up-itude. But I don't even drink coffee for that. It's just my morning drink. It's warm and it tastes good because I get the good stuff. Oh, I get the good stuff, all right. Look at that dangle. Look at that dangle precipice right there. Well, that's a combination of words. Neat. It might not even be a dangle. It might be a float. No, it's a dangle. That's a dangle indeed. Neat. Ooh, look at this canopy. Is Wolfie spawning? Uh-oh. Wolfie? There you are. Yeah, never, ever, ever. And I don't plan to. But yeah, I mean, I drink coffee more for the taste. It kind of started as just kind of a habit. Not a habit, but just like... I just wanted to try. It's kind of a routine. That's the word I was looking for. It's like a routine in the morning. But yeah, even then I don't... Like if I've had my coffee in the morning, I don't like go out for more coffee or anything like that. Like some people have to constantly be going through Starbucks drive-thrus or whatever for their coffee fix. But no, thanks. I'm good. But thank you for that question there, Onion. Oh, you know what else I did on just like on Christmas Day, on New Year's Day, I took a hike. Got a jump start. That was kind of one of the things in 2018. I remember recording one of my hiking vlogs and being like, my goal is to hike once a week. I clearly didn't do that. I maybe hiked more than some people. Like, it's a little bit surprising. Well, not surprising, but it's unsurprising, I guess I should say then. How many people live in or around Seattle who sure, maybe hiking's not your thing. That's fine. But people who even like comment on my pictures and Instagram and stuff, being like, "Oh, where is that?" Maybe they've lived in Seattle all their lives, and they're like, "I've never been hiking ever." It's just not the thing. But on New Year's Day, I went out to a place I'd been before. It was nice. It was nice. It was a shorter hike. I didn't do like the full thing. I think I went 2.6 miles up and back, so just over 5-ish miles, I think. 5.2 miles, I think it was. 700 foot altitude climb. But I neglected to realize that over a holiday weekend, at the end of it is when everybody comes back to Seattle from their weekend away in the mountains, mostly skiing. Everybody, their cars were all covered in snow and they had ski racks and things. And while it took me like 50 minutes to get to this trail, it took me an hour and 30 minutes to get back. So that was kind of a bummer, but it was still a good hike. Yeah, went with Juno. It was crowded too, the parking lot. I got there late, which normally would have been a detriment. Be like, oh, it's 2 p.m. I can't go out for a hike. But I figured I'll get there at 3, and that leaves a good hour and a half for hiking before sunset at 4:30 or whenever it sets. No more excuses, my boy. No more excuses. So I went out. But yeah, it was actually during the day, I guess the parking lot was full. But there were some spots left when I got in there, but it was crowded. But there's a main trail on this trail that goes along the river and goes to viewing waterfalls and things. But then there's a kind of an alternate trail that follows an old logging road, which most people don't care about. So I took that and was alone for most of the hike and had Juno off leash, and she was doing really good with that. And it was a good little hike. I don't know why the top of my buns hurt. My butt. I mean, I guess hiking upwards. Is that the glutens? Is that the glutens? Glutinous maximus? Getting those hiking glutes. Working them out. But yeah, like the tops of my cheeks. Oh boy, gotta stretch those out. So yeah, that's what I did on New Year's Day. And Christmas Day. I guess I haven't seen you guys since Christmas, have I? No, the 28th was the last episode. Listen, it's all wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. Speaking of climbing 700 feet, Yake M1 asks, how metric are you? Pop quiz, what is your height in centimeters? I think it's like 74, 76. I'm 6'2". Something like that. Juno's weight in kilograms? I don't know what that is. She's like 40 pounds. She should be 35 pounds. I'm working on getting that chunk. A little bit less chunk. She's not like a overweight dog or anything like that, but there could be some weight shed there. Current outdoor temperature in Celsius. 4? Probably. It's like 38 degrees or something. Average fuel consumption of my Subaru. I don't know. How many cents in a dollar? 60. Just like clocks, right? It's a metric clock. Yeah, thanks for that pop quiz. No, I'm very bad at that. I'm very bad at that. Just because I mean, even if I made a dedicated effort, everything around me is in cups and Fahrenheit, you know, like baking my potatoes. There's no Celsius option on my oven. There's no, I mean, I suppose I could get a metric measuring cups, but all the recipes are in cups and tablespoons and teaspoons and stuff. Sure, my car has the kilometers per hour, but all the road signs, all the 1 mile to exit. So yeah, while I'm sure people can and do, it just requires more effort than I think any sort of benefit is not worth in the imperial world that I live in, is not worth the effort. Speaking of effort, let's go to sleep. Oh boy. And we just had inches of fun. Inches! Uh-oh, Juno is starting to recognize the snoring and thinks that's the end of the episode. She's got to learn how to count. It's the third amount of snoring that counts. Juno, I need you to cease. Good girl. Oh boy. Greater_Sky asked, do you think video games are underrated as mass media art? I feel like they are still considered childish to most people, even though games like Rhyme, Gone Home, you mean? What Remains of Edith Finch, etc., are all amazing story potential. I mean, and even story doesn't matter. I mean, look, as far as movies are concerned, you've got films on one side, I'm trying to think of like good thinking films. You have artsy films like Schindler's List, very heavy topics, and more just straight up artistic ones that I'm not thinking of right now. Touch of Evil and all those other ones, but then you also have Transformers and a Goofy movie, or stuff like that. So yeah, I think it is hard in mass media to find that equivalent, or to make that connection in video games. Video games, are the most, there's like the most money going through video games than any other mass media art. More than movies, more than television, more than music. I don't know the numbers precisely, but I know it's into the billions of dollars, etc., of what you could call that industry makes up. So yeah, it certainly could. There certainly is still an association with it being a toy for kids and things like that. And I think that's just a generational thing. There's still a generation older than me, even. How is that possible? That did not grow up with video games. That did not grow up. They grew up with buying video games for their kids or whatever, but they didn't grow up with how they currently are or experiencing them as art forms, as, you know, parallels to reading a novel or seeing a movie, watching a play, you know, something like that. So once those old farts die off, I think it is when we'll definitely... I mean, there's even people within our own generation and younger than us who... Video games, me. I'm not on them anymore, but I can admit I perused. I took a gander at those dating apps, and there are even people who are like, I don't want a man who plays video games. It's like, okay, bye. So yeah, it's even within our own generations and peers too, where that can be seen as that. But I think it just takes time for that to make sense. Time and also effort. I mean, right now I think the video game industry within itself is struggling with that by not, you know, movies and film and music and stuff. They all have laws and rules and unions that cover the people who work for them, but not like people, you know, developers of video games. There's also right now, what with the big companies are leaning into, let's call it, not so legitimate business practices, dabbling in the same sort of tropes that you can find in gambling, exploitative money grabs, that we need to, I suppose, take a harder look at within the industry. But at the same time, sure, music had payola, movies have money grabs where they raise the price of this, that, or the other, or, ooh, it's a 3D movie, so it's $5 more for those 3D glasses. And, you know, there's all different ways that all the different industries have been subject to that. But yeah, no, I certainly think I agree with that. But I think it will change with time, and on the outside with time for outside perspective, but then within too, to be able to treat it as such and give it that kind of give both the makers of the games and also the players of the games the sort of respect that comes with a quote unquote art form, a mass, a public form of interaction, communication, art, expression, and whatnot, indeed, and etc., I say. TDW fan, who had some of those very generous donations to Direct Relief, asks, are you going to get to my question while building some boats? Why, yes. No. Do you automatically skip questions? Am I going the wrong way? Have I been going the wrong way? I have been going the wrong way, haven't I? For how long, Wolfie? My goodness! Wait a dang old minute. Where's the sun? Oops. When did that happen? When did that happen? Hopefully recently. Good lord. Bringing in the new year with negative progress. Wow, that was interesting. Well, we'll see it on the tape. TDW fan asks, do you ever automatically skip questions in Flob, like about religion or politics? I don't think there are that many questions about that, but I don't think I've had any. That I've had any questions that I've skipped recently. I don't know what that is saying, but I mean there are sometimes questions I'll skip if I don't feel like they'll spur any conversation or just like a topic I've already covered or something like that. But I don't think I've skipped many in a very long while here. Do you ever think about such things like the existence of a god or higher being, or have you made your mind one way or the other? What are you, the Atlas and No Man's Sky? I've talked about this before, and I don't really get into it. It's not really so much a discussion as this is what I'm about. Obviously, I'm sure you can assume, based on everything I talk about science, knowledge, humanities, and whatnot, is that I'm not a religious person, and I'm less about belief and more about truth. What is it? It's kind of like truth and science is taking the data, the facts, and coming to a conclusion, whereas belief is having a conclusion before you have the facts, and or finding facts that support your conclusion that you've already made. Sometimes beliefs and scientific facts line up, but just based on how they work, a lot of times they don't. Science and facts are true whether you believe them or not. There's another way to put it. Am I like, ah! Ooh, surround sound. That was a interesting noise we just heard. Yeah, I certainly think there's certainly, we go on about faults of organized religion and things like that, but those more line up with faults of humans. There's faults with science, but those all line up with faults caused by humans. And it's just more of a choice I've come to, I guess. I don't get in. It's hard to get into because I'm not a student of philosophy, or I can't bring you a bunch of very famous words from very studious people to say things or not. It's just that's the way it is, and the way I am, and like I don't feel like I have to defend it, I guess. But yeah. So do I skip those questions? No. Do I have a lot to talk about with them? Not really. I certainly feel like there are other things that I'm more passionate about that I can spend my energy. Right, Wolfie? Woof. Indeed. Whoa! So dark. Did I do it? Oh, I did it right. Well done. Thanks. So let's build the first beds of 2019. Woof. Wolfie agrees. And remind everybody, farlandsofbus.com is where you can keep donating to Direct Relief. And that'd be much appreciated. Who's going to be the one to get us to 23,000? It's less than $5 away. And that Kurt Reacts video for getting to $20,000, it's going to come. I Promise. Those of you who follow know that it takes me some time to do these things, but I do them eventually. But I hope everybody had a happy new year, and thank you very much for sticking around and watching Far Lands of Bust. This has been episode 723. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time. Glutenus maximus.